Another area of massive growth recently has been the Lightning Network. And every single time I go and I look at these statistics, I'm personally just shocked. And I'm, as bullish as they come, but the growth seems to be even outpacing my expectations. What are you seeing here with the Lightning Network public channel capacity?
Yeah, so I mean, the Lightning Network is not something that gets talked about a lot in crypto spheres. It's kind of just this thing that's being worked on under the hood, and a lot of these open source protocols, apps, different something like Strike, right, where it's almost abstracted away, where you don't even know you're using Lightning, you're just scanning a QR code. I think that's the future, and what it allows for is this monetary asset to be settled basically instantaneously anywhere in the world. So Jack Mallers is having a talk with the IMF saying this isn't even about Bitcoin, the asset. This is about Bitcoin, the network, and Lightning, the network, which is a layer two on top of Bitcoin, just being a superior monetary network compared to anything the world's ever seen. And the reality is almost no one in the world understands that fact yet, that we can settle without really any counterparty risk. We can settle this absolutely scarce monetary asset in a bearer type way from peer to peer, with no intermediary, with no counterparty, and with no really risk of funds being seized or anything else that you deal with in a traditional kind of third party settlement network, or third party like a Visa, PayPal, etc. Satoshi solved that double spend problem, and Lightning allows for this instantaneous type settlement. So it's really exciting, and a lot of really smart people and engineers and founders are building on top of this thing. So, we're going to see, more countries adopt this as legal tender in the future. I think that's not even a real bold prediction. And, the medium of exchange type side of Bitcoin is really going to utilize Lightning Network.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about the Lightning Network without all the hype, right? For the most part, without tons of venture backing. And it's just been volunteers on the internet, kind of slowly but surely building a peer-to-peer network of, what at now is probably tens of thousands of people running these Lightning Network nodes all throughout through the world, and really building a actual decentralized system that has instantaneous settlement, nearly free from a fee perspective, and at the end of the day is superior to the legacy banking system, right? If I want to send any amount of money, even if it is using my credit card at the coffee shop, etc., there is not cash finality. There is not instantaneous settlement. There is not nearly free, from a fee perspective. And so this is superior technology, and people around the world are adopting it. And I think you see it in some of these metrics that you're pointing out here. Let's talk about exchange flows. I know you've been looking a lot at that. You've got the 30-day kind of analysis of exchange flows. What is this telling us?
Yeah, so people try to get a little too fancy with exchange flows and use it as a top or a bottom indicator, and a lot of times it's not that simple. But I think we can identify a few secular trends here. One is that exchange flows are basically persistently negative for the most part. So coins are coming off exchanges, except for a few just type of big events we saw with the China exodus and kind of that liquidation event that happened, that mass liquidation event in the May of 2021. Saw a lot of coins flow on exchanges. We saw following the Powell kind of pivot and inflation's not transitory in November, we saw some coins come onto exchange, but really the trend since the start of 2020 has been coins are flowing out of exchanges by the hundreds of thousands and just huge numbers. And so I think that trend is set to continue, and there will be, bumps in the road. And, there will be coins coming on exchanges at certain times, maybe the next time all-time high breaks. But the reality is people are increasingly coming to realize that Bitcoin and the native kind of properties of this asset that allow you to self-custody it are really important. Talking about Trudeau and Canada earlier, I caught a little bit of you guys before I came on. This whole thing with COVID, a lot of people are realizing it's not about health, and increasingly it's just about control. And so, money that can't be seized, money that's not a database entry in someone else's database, where, if your political, views don't align with theirs, well, your money might not be yours. So Bitcoin in that sense is more important than ever. And increasingly people are coming to realize that. So, self-custody your coins, not your keys, not your coins. It's the story of Bitcoin.
Yeah, and it's only going to get louder and more prominent, I think. We've got the illiquid supply shock ratio here. What is this telling us?
Yeah, so shout out Will Clemente, came up with this one in 2021. And on chain, what you can really see is it quantifies the supply side of things. And really this primes or sets the stage for the demand side. So price runs when the marginal seller is exhausted And what we see here is that just the marginal seller, or really just kind of this cohort of stackers, is taking over. And so just continuing to eat away at that free float of supply, diminishing that available, Bitcoin to be sold on the market every single day. And so Illiquid supply, this supply shock ratio, quantifying the illiquid supply relative to the liquid and highly liquid supply. Don't have to get too much into the weeds with the definitions, but basically it's just showing how much Bitcoin is being held by strong hands relative to that liquid supply. And so it's as attractive as it's been since the start of 2020, surpassing its 2021 highs. And so really what we're waiting for is this big demand shift. And I think we're starting to see it, not even from the inflation hedge narrative, this digital gold narrative, the central bank dilution narrative that we saw in 2020 and 21, but now we're seeing more so the censorship resistance kind of effect play or start to play out. And so really interesting time in Bitcoin, but the demand side, really or the supply side, what this is showing is that we're primed for a big move when that kind of demand shifts and comes in a big way.